Are you guys holding out? Are you afraid it's gonna dump even more than 41k? 40, I think it was down at 40k something. So it is going down a little bit, but I want to show you something before we start talking about, you know, lines and charts and you know what's happening right now. This over here, 15 April, actually 17 April, is the halvening. This is the third halvening, second halvening. Now look at this. If we take from the bottom over here to the halvening, so where we actually started in the previous move, and we put on the chart, what we can actually see is that we pretty much started the same at the same time before the halvening, the move towards upside like last time. Then if you go before that, all the way over here, this the move started onto the halvening, and we put that on the chart. You'll see that this move actually in 2014-15 actually started a lot later. So it was waiting for a lot longer over here, right? So let's put some lines over here so we can see this nicely. So, you know, we started over here, previously started over here as well. 2015 started over here, but basically these are where the moves actually started. And the first halvening, before the first halvening, we started all the way back here. And let's put it back on the chart as well. Over here, so you can see this nicely. We'll put it all the way up here so you can see this nicely. And this started over here, right? So doesn't matter how you look at it, this is already over, this part. And it is, let's put it a little bit up and down so you can see this nicely. It is going towards the halvening right now, right? So this last move can, you know, play a little bit differently. Up here we pumped a little bit, over here we dumped a little bit, over here we pumped, then dumped, then pumped and dumped, and it just went kind of sideways consolidation. But you know, basically, you know, we are going towards halvening. The bottom is done, and the last part remains. Now the last part, how they did play out over here, third halvening until the very first stop. We're just gonna take the first stop over here. Something like this over here. We're going to put a line up there so you can see that line over here, and then the previous stop over here from the halvening all the way to the top. We can also put that on the chart over here this way, give or take up here, really doesn't matter. It goes all the way up here. This is the 2017 top over here, and then the first one goes from, you know, the halvening and all the way towards the top. We're just gonna take the second top because these two tops up here are kind of the same way, as same place, but you know, over here this seems to be like a legit top up here. Wait, I moved the wrong one. And this one up here, after the halvening up here, you can see up here coming to this very first stop over here. So what we can conclude up here is that the part up here is the start of the bull market, where it actually started going towards upside before the I mean, there is accumulation part before every single one of those, and over here, you know, give or take somewhere up here, there will come some kind of ending, right? And that's it, guys, that's it. We have a little bit more than a year right now. This is 61 bars, so a little bit above the year. This is 88 bars, 1.5 year, give or take. So you got it between 1 year and 1.5 year to make money. That's it. After that, another bear market comes. 1.5 year. Now tell me, who in their right mind is selling? I know Grayscale is selling because it's, you know, been all over the news and stuff like that, right? Twitter, Grayscale is selling, but any kind of move towards downside is by the dip event, and until we reach some kind of top eventually, it's really hard for me to become bearish. But I just want to show you this because oftentimes people have a little bit hard time visualizing how long time there is left, you know, and this is the only thing we can actually base our analysis on, you know, how Bitcoin has previously played out and how it's going to play out, you know, in the future. But it is important to notice that the pullbacks are the pullbacks are by the deep events. The bottom is already played out. We are at 40k right now. We only trying to figure out how it's gonna play out in this part over here, you know, before the halvening, right after the halvening, before it actually starts going towards the upside, you know, this zigzag pattern. But the way I see it, you know, selling high, buying low and stuff like that, it can get you out of the market pretty fast. So I did that before, messed up, you know, you try to, you know, time it very good, buy, you know, sell the top, buy the bottom again, you know, every single move, you know, maximize those gains. It gets you out of the market because when price pumps pretty fast. Now we can go back to our chart and see what's actually happening here. This is a logarithmic chart because we have been looking at logarithmically, but this is a regular chart up here. We can also remove the halvenings up here from the chart, and we are pulling back. So right now, yesterday we actually had a very nice dump over here at almost 5% towards downside, 3.39 closed. It closed below the support levels. There is also no divergence on the RSI on the daily time frame. Everything looks nice. Momentum is increasing towards downside. The volume, I think, is just going sideways up here a little bit, so the volume is not telling us that much over here. But the quick trend over here does seem to be broken. I don't know how you want to draw this line. If you draw it like this over here, maybe there is you know, the line is holding up here. You can see up here. I mean, technically, you know, you might say it's holding up here. Over here, it's not holding because over here we got 4 touches on the line. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on the line before we actually broke the line. Over here on the downside, all the way downside, we're actually holding that, but there are only 2 touches up here, so I'm a little bit unsure how legit that line is. But you can see right now that, you know, the target up here was hit, and we are still, you know, just consolidating into the halvening up here right now. A lot of people believe that, you know, 38k levels down here, pullback over here to 38k levels might happen. I mean, it is a slight pullback. I'm slight pullback from you know, from 46 all the way down. That's going to be something like 17 to 20% towards downside, just like every single one of these pullbacks, right? So this pullback over here was 22%. This was also 20. Where is the thing? This was also the 20% pullback, and, you know, the third one was also 20% pullback up here, where it goes 21% pullback. And right now we are at something like you know, 16%. But, you know, can we go down, you know, to another 22% move towards downside? Definitely can. Not saying it cannot happen, but I am bullish, guys. I am bullish, and even with this move towards downside, I'm gonna tell you what I look at, you know, giving me the hopium right now that for whatever reason we might actually hold this very nicely. So this last part up here, it looks like to be broken, unless you draw the line like this, but it does look like to be broken if you draw the line something like this over here. Over here we tried to break this, you know, channel towards upside, failed. That went right back to support, tap over here, right now breaking that towards downside. So it does look like it might actually drop towards the downside. The bigger trend over here is not yet broken. So if you take into consideration literally everything on the chart, we still got, you know, down, could go down maybe 39.7 or something like that. Depends on how you draw the chart. Maybe a little bit like this over here. It looks nicer. And you know, if you pull these tops up here, I mean, we are on the support level. But if you put it like this over here, these bottoms over here are actually a lot more nicely respected, and tops up here. So I like this line. There is still, you know, probability to just step just below the 40k, but, you know, it's still in the channel over here. That said, oftentimes what price does is price creates some kind of move up here, breaks the major support level like we just did over here right now in this last part, gets into what we call the box, zigzags, and then breaks back above that. And this is very common, and this happens all the time on the chart, all over the place. Over here, for example, there was a you know, zigzag move. You break below that, you get into the box over here, and then you break right back above that again. Let me see up here. Previously up here, these are very common moves, right? So over here you can come in some kind of zigzag pattern, you break down there, you can come in some kind of box, and then you break out of that box again towards the upside. It is very common to do, and this often happens in some kind of very bullish trends, somewhere where the price actually you know, goes down to pick up whatever kind of liquidity it can pick up, and then, you know, it just continues going towards the upside. But it oftentimes breaks some kind of significant support level, whatever that support level is, right? Over here it might, you know, seem that, you know, it's some kind of horizontal level all the way down here below these below these wicks on the downside. That's gonna be below something like 40.2 or something like that, but it can also be a trend line over here, something like this over here, where we already are actually breaking that significant level. So if you got some kind of chart that goes something like this over here and you break a significant level that a lot of people are looking at, that means that this over here is capitulation, where everybody right now thinks that, you know, for whatever reason we are gonna continue dumping on the downside, but it just gets into some kind of box over here, zigzag, 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 while everybody waits this to drop down and then just explodes towards the upside. So it picks up the liquidity and goes towards the upside again. And this is oftentimes done in some kind of bullish scenarios, where you actually get in the box over here on the downside and then you zigzag before you actually get back towards the upside. Now I am still very much bullish, and I'm gonna keep bullishness because there is no reason to be bearish. Any kind of 20% pullback towards downside is by the dip event, the way I see it, because like I just showed you, you got between 1 year, 1.5 year for this to play out, right? I mean, just the accumulation zone down here, this on the daily time frame. Let's go to the weekly time frame up here. Just the accumulation zone up here, the only accumulation zone lasted 29 weeks. That's half a year. That's half a year. Just the accumulation zone, and you know, the entire move towards upside lasted 1 year. So you got 1.5 more year. There will be you know, pullbacks and stuff like that over here, but you know, mostly, you know, I think it's just gonna continue going towards the upside. So being bearish and looking for some kind of pullback down and being in some kind of fear, we are not, but we are looking just for where the next support might actually hit in, where we might actually get that that nice you know, consolidation pattern. So over here in the last part over here, that might be the box. Over here, maybe, you know, something like this up here where it actually breaks towards the upside. If it breaks on downside up here, I would still assume there is a box down here between 38 and 40k levels, give or take, into the liquidity zone that we talked about before down here. And again, after that again move towards the upside. If we go even below that over here, I mean, it is, you know, generational buying the deep events, not financial advice of course, but the generational buying the deep events and stuff like that. Does it actually look bad on the small time frames over here? I mean, technically it is bad, and yesterday we said that there is a, you know, maybe, just maybe, there is a, you know, bearish bear flag over here being created right now. So the target on the bear flag up here is from the first stop up here, not from the top up here, but you know, from this stop over here, something like this. And the target up here for the bear flag, if it's a bear flag, and you know, it could be a bear flag technically, it's 38.7. So can it go all the way down to those levels? It definitely can, but we already down big time. And if you look at the volume up here, you can see that you know, there has been once we got into this you know, consolidation phase up here, once we dropped down, the volume actually spiked up here, and right now, you know, there was already some liquidity that got picked up. If you look at the moving averages over here, we are technically, and then this is the one thing that I'm actually looking at right now, and I'm actually expecting and hoping to see, we still got 2 days. We still got 2 days and 16 hours left, and right now we are holding this 10 moving average. But you can see up here, this candle up here is not closed. So if we can actually pull back up in next 2 days until 21.7, and that's not actually very high, 21.7, what's gonna happen up here? We're gonna have this very, very nice, you know, doji up here after this red candle that might actually just push us again right towards the upside. So I'm looking for the doji next 2-3 days to see how it's gonna play out. I mean, you know, even if it drops down further towards downside, you can still pick up to this level up here, 21.7, and create the doji. So I'm looking for the doji on the weekly time frame. I'm looking for the, you know, for the this daily, to see if there is gonna come any kind of you know, pattern down here right now that's gonna tell us that, you know, this is gonna reverse towards upside, because right now it can already start reversing towards upside, but it looks like it's waiting on the small time frames for these moving averages to dump down. So it's gonna continue over here towards downside, but it's all, how do you say it, it's a sucker's game, you know. It's gonna go down because we are not in bear market, we are not shorting, you know, long term, it's just scalping and stuff like that, right? But it can reverse at any moment, and when it reverses, it's gonna go fast, guys. Once it reverses towards upside again, it's gonna go fast. Again, there is also a bear flag over here being created on the bottom side up here, something like this up here, and this part up here, but this on the small time frames, 1 hourly time frames up here, right? And this also gets us down to the 39.5, give or take, down here in those levels, if it's a bear flag, if it breaks again towards downside. But it will reverse, and once it reverses, it's gonna go very, very fast, guys. It's gonna go very, very fast. So ask yourself, are you good enough to close your position in time? Thank you for watching, guys. It's been 15 minutes video and I talked about nothing. Hit the like button on the way out and I'll see you around. Bye bye. Outro.